Look, you can have a religion that relies upon a sort of extension of what we find in the world. If I do things carefully that take into account their consequences in the future, I can get a good future. If I do the right thing, I get rewarded accordingly. That's basically the Hindu thing. The Christian religion thing is, if I believe on God, He will put it right. In particular, the evangel sort of charismatic thing is, even if I don't get things right, because I'm believing on Him, He will put it right. We're all desperate sinners anyway. Well, there's a third step in this progression of faith. And that is that earnest sincerity of being true to what you personally have found out will result in heaven. The Jesus teaching, especially in John 17, is, if you can come to know God, all things will be well. You will have life eternal. What's the major foundation step? To realize that, see God as your heavenly Father, and you therefore His child. This orientates you in the right direction. You start to know God. Can save yourself a lot of hard knocks by following the teaching. More or less what we have in John's Gospel and the other Gospels, but don't assume every word is right. Some things are cultural, culture specific. You do need to have ears to hear. But an earnest sincerity and love of God does exactly that. Now, this third understanding is not something that majors in the Christian religion, but it does major in a close attention to the Gospels, John's Gospel in particular. So I think there was a major step forward in the teaching of Jesus. It's not just a mystery rehash. It looks like it, and that's what made it acceptable and familiar. The hero that's mistreated, that loves the people. A son of God. Who is the hero? You. You, me, and every person you meet on the street. This is their life story. Well, that was completely missed by the Christian faith, of course, Christian religion. They worship the mythical messenger instead of the spiritual reality. But it's not Buddhism. You do realize that. Love is major in this view. You could say understanding's major, but it's not quite wisdom, and certainly not simply the old wisdom. There's an amazing individuality about the Jesus approach. It's not to save Israel. It's to save you. And yet there's a tremendous love, both as regards your Heavenly Father and you, and you and others. You're all children of God. You're all loved of God. You're all loved of each other. We don't have a text that says God is wisdom. We do have it that God is love. And what Jesus labours in his prayer, John 17, for us, is all about oneness with God and love. That is what it is to know God. It's not actually mastering some theology at all. It's not very theological. I mean, not like Paul, not remotely. It's very simple. You need to know God. Basically, God is Heavenly Father and he loves you. And Jesus has prayed for you. And God will be with you always. You're sanctified, blessed, eternally blessed. Thank you, Dad. So when I say what you personally have found out, I'm very much reminded of the Holy Spirit teaching you, not the man next door. What you have come to understand from your experience of living and thinking. Be true to yourself. Your God can only be the personification of your values. If your values are wrong, your God's wrong. You're going to trust that your true God will overrule and guide you personally into an understanding of Him. How do I come to know God? By being with Him. Not by what other people say. In what sense are you with Him? When you reflect on the day and you think, wonder why that happened. You're thinking with God. Your thoughts are being pulled from God. What does this mean? Do I agree with this? That seems strange. I don't like that. That's good. If only. You sort out your values with Him. He'll guide you, even though you've got a misunderstanding of Him. If you follow your God with all your heart, soul, mind and strength, your God, obviously the true God will override where you make mistakes. What sort of God wouldn't do that for you? Even your parents do that. How much more God, His children, you. Thank you, Dad.